week went by, 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by. So I came back, and again I said, remember I asked a question? We haven't decided yet. We'll get back to you on that. A couple of more weeks went by. I went back to them and I said, remember I asked a question? We haven't decided on that yet. And now I'm getting a little testy, and I said, aren't you ashamed of that? For all practical purposes, for the remainder of the time that I was there, I never saw anybody. All of a sudden, every day when I would come in about 12:30, between 12:30 and 1 o'clock to pick up my mail because the offices were in one building, the studios in another. Every day. After that, nobody was there. They deliberately left the building to avoid me. Deliberately left the building to avoid me. Interesting. Thanksgiving came. I had the day off, and I took the day after Thanksgiving off. I came into work on Monday. That Friday was December the 1st. That was the do it or get off the pot day. For the first time in weeks, Tom Palavita, the operations manager, was there. By the way, guys, remember how you loved it? On my first day at WSUN, when I told the whole story, the truth, about what happened at WFLA, remember how you loved that? Oh, you're going to love the next 15 minutes here. 8:48 is the time. Monday, it's the Nationwide Insurance Charity Golf Classic benefiting Easter Seals. You can golf at the Pasadena Yacht and Country Club, and the 1 o'clock shotguns start for $100 registration fee. You'll get lunch and dinner, a golf shirt, and lots of other goodies. Plus, 970 WFLA's Jack Harris will be there. Call 988-7633 for more information from TSI of Florida, ABC 28 Tampa Bay, and 970 WFLA. I don't regret 1 minute of the time that I spent at WSUN. There were a lot of very, very good times. There were a lot of very memorable days, too. The most memorable day was a bone-chilling day. The kind of day that you remember for the rest of your life. We had, while I was there, we had swapped radio stations with CBS. They got one in Texas, and we got 95 YNF. Which was kind of a trophy station at one time in this market, home of Ron and Ron, home of Russ Albums, home of a lot of other people. A lot of people probably listening to me right now who grew up listening to that radio station that have very special, very dear, fond memories. Radio is an incredible medium, unlike almost any other, where you have a bond, you form a bond with your audience, and it doesn't really make any difference what the format is. If the person behind the microphone is good enough, and the times are right in your life, there's a bond, a very special, magical bond. And there's kind of an implied, I'll be here for you whenever you need me relationship that you have with the audience. And then one day, and it doesn't, again, make any difference what the format is, what the station is, what the times are, one day, that implied promise to be there for you forever and ever and ever is broken. Coldly, harshly, cruelly, without warning. When we took over WINF, the bond that they had formed with their audience was broken without warning. Everybody that worked at YNF was fired. Not because they had done bad work, but because we could run the station without them. We already had a bookkeeper. We already had a receptionist. We already had a sales staff. We already had a cheap, in-the-box format that could be run by people paid a couple of bucks an hour. You didn't have to be Russ Albums. You didn't have to be Ron and Ron. All you had to do was say, "Ghost!" and play the same goddamn records over and over and over again. Well, there's kind of a long-standing, long-running joke with me and the people I work for, and sometimes we even let the audience in on it. It's the chair that I sit in. I sit in the chair for a long time. I got a big fat ass, okay? It's important to me that it be a comfortable chair. The chair in the studio at WSUN left much to be desired. It was, in essence, a stool. And so they said, well, look, go over to the old YNF studios and pick out any chair you want. Any chair you want. And you can have that one. And I said, okay. And so I went over and they unlocked the door and I stepped inside. And it was unbelievable. Here was this facility that had just a couple of weeks before been a vibrant radio station where close to 100 people had worked. Close to 100 people had worked there. And there it was, absolutely empty of human beings. But the thing that was so strange, it's as though they had just left. It's as though they knew I was coming and had just all run out into the hall. Like they were playing some kind of a game or a joke. I mean, we're talking about, there were phone messages on the desks. There was unopened mail. There were still personal items. It's as though, I don't know, a spaceship had come and sucked them all up or something. It was the eeriest feeling I've ever known in my entire life. And I walked from office to office and cubicle to cubicle, testing out chairs and just standing there looking at this huge facility, 10, 12,000 square feet, whatever the hell it was, where people didn't work anymore, where sounds no longer were broadcast over the transmitter, where listeners no longer had any relationship with their friends at 95 YNF. It was really, really, really depressing. And I stood there and I looked around and I thought, God damn, this station used to be owned by one of the biggest corporations on the face of the earth. And it was taken over by two of the richest ladies on the face of the earth. And all those people, from the general manager down to the mailroom boy, gone. Gone. And all those people out there who used to listen to it, who grew up with it, who counted on it, listening to some moron say, "Ghost!" for $8 an hour. Something wrong here. Something awfully, awfully wrong. And that's happened hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times in virtually every city in this country. And it happens every day. And it's going to continue to happen every single day because of deregulation. We're a whole bunch of rich speculators who aren't broadcasters, who aren't even human beings, got the Congress to pass laws allowing them to own as many radio stations as they can cram into their portfolio, allowing them to blow out as many employees as they can possibly blow out to run them as cheaply as possible, not in the public interest, not in anybody's interest but their own. It's a day I'll never forget as long as I live. I did find a comfortable chair. I don't know who used to sit in it before I did. I might have been the sales manager. I'm not sure. It was a pretty expensive one. Big high back. It's still in good shape. It's a chair I sat in to do my show. When they blew me out, Jeffy took it and broke it. I'm kind of glad that he did. Nobody else is sitting in it anymore. Nobody else is sitting in it anymore. There were other days while I was there that I'll never forget. But that's the most significant. Until that Monday after Thanksgiving, I came in at my usual time. And I went to the mailbox, and standing right there waiting for me was Tom Palavita. I hadn't seen Tommy for a long time.